Hey everybody, it's Jared Hope with Tilt Property Group. And get this, I get asked all of the time, why Alberta? I live in Kelowna, British Columbia, but I invest in Alberta. I've been investing in Alberta since 2003. To date, I've transacted over 400 properties in Alberta, and here's why. Alberta right now is plain and simple, lots of reasons, but cash flow. Cash flow is king in my business. I buy real estate for cash flow first, mortgage pay down second, and then I hope for appreciation. Appreciation's the unknown. All that stuff that's happening in Vancouver, all that stuff's happening in Toronto, that's all based off of appreciation. There's virtually no cash flow inside those two cities. So that's fine. People can buy there, but I buy purely for cash flow. So that's why Alberta. Right now, you can easily find a house for $400,000, $450,000 in Alberta that's going to cash flow anywhere from $400 to $700, $800 a month. So cash flow. But I also buy for upside. If you start looking for the upside in Alberta right now, you look at, we just had a change in government. UCP just came in. NDP went out. We all know what happens after an NDP government. The economy shoots through the roof. It's been tried and tested multiple times in other provinces. So NDP are out, UCP in. And UCP, their slogan right now is open for business. So what that means is Kenny's out driving the Alberta economy. He's lowering corporate tax. He's encouraging the private sector to come back to Alberta for the oil and gas, because oil and gas is what drives our economy. Now, we have to get pipelines. We have to get our oil to Tidewater somehow. So Kenny's going he's going to try hard to make that happen. But here's what gets interesting, and here's why Alberta right now. So right now, here's a little line. Here's a typical buying pattern. So greed brings people in. They bring people in. Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin a number of years ago was like $2,000, $3,000. Actually, it was zero when it started, and all of a sudden it jumped up to 21, 22, or something like that, $1,000 for what I call fake money. But now all of a sudden it dropped down to $3,000. Here's why: because greed drove up the price. Fear dropped it back down. So in fear, everybody gets out, and then you repeat it until you're broke. That's the typical buying pattern. So right now in Alberta, greed in 2013, 14, 15, everybody started showing up back in the market. That's what's happening in Toronto and Vancouver. And then all of a sudden in 2015, 16, 17, fear kicked everybody out. And now we're sitting right about here. We're starting to trend back up, because now what's starting to happen is we have UCP, we have a change of government, we have the feds, we have a federal election coming at the end of 2019. Now, if you actually start thinking about that, we're starting to see an economy across Canada that started to slow down, not just Alberta. The whole economy is starting to slow down. GDP growth is not what they thought it was. That's why they're keeping interest rates flat. I'm willing to bet that in the next 6 months, we're going to see one, if not two, interest rate drops, corrections. Then you start looking at the federal government election. The federal government election, let's be honest, if Trudeau doesn't start creating activity, he's going to lose his job. So now he's fighting for employment, as is Andrew Scheer. So they're both fighting for employment. So they're going to be talking things like pipelines. They're going to be talking about job creations. They're going to be talking about lower interest rates. They have to stimulate the economy. So as they stimulate the economy, who's going to benefit? Because we have UCP who are open for business, and they're actively working to promote people to come back to the province. As this happens, it's going to fill the bucket of Alberta potentially with lower interest rates, with maybe some reduced stress tests. I don't know. I'm just making a prediction. I don't have a crystal ball, but it's just a thought that I have. If all this stuff happens, it's going to put Alberta in a spot to climb. Now, we will see an increase in values, but more importantly, I buy for cash flow. In 2014, rents were about 20% higher than they are today. So if I can buy a house today at a discounted price at a $500, $600 a month cash flow, all of a sudden if prices go back to 2014 levels, we're talking $1,200 to $1,500 a month cash flow on a $450,000 purchase. There's so much more on why Alberta. From the Tenant Act, the Landlord Tenant Act is probably one of the best in the country. The politics situation, the economy as far as encouraging private sector to come back to the province, the interest rates, which I already talked about, the house prices, the people moving back to Alberta. There's so many benefits to why Alberta. My name is Jared Hope. Make sure you follow it, like it, share it. Facebook is my friend. We'll see you, and we'll talk to you guys all soon.